Hello world, and thank you for having me. So, just started my dash, and we're off to a great start today. Story time. It's a boring story, but it's true nonetheless. So, it was yet again one of those hand-it-to-me deliveries. Dashers out here, you know what I'm saying. I know you get it. Thank you. So, it's a hand-it-to-me. So, I'm knock, knock, knock. Hello. Into which, no answer, of course, because sometimes people like to forget that they selected Hand It To Me. Or maybe they don't have the app and they ordered it through the restaurant, in which case, I don't think they selected Hand It To Me. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I've never ordered DoorDash. But, point being, so I say, she's not answering the door, so I have to select Can't Reach the Customer. So then another screen will pop up and I then have to call the customer. Because you can't just leave it. You got to take a picture of it. But stay with me. So I call her and I'm like, hi, this is DoorDash just dropping off your food. And she said, okay. And so I was like, it says you want me to hand it to you? And then she's like, oh, no, you can just leave it at the door. I said, okay, hung up. So then the timer goes off because after you go to contact them, it gives a 5-minute timer. I was going to leave it at the door, but then you have to leave it at the door. You have to select, I handed it to customer if you want to hurry up and do it right away. But I didn't do that, so to cover my, you know what, I was going to wait the 5 minutes so I could then, because then after the 5 minutes, you can take a picture of the order at the door. Now that picture is very important because it protects me and the customer, it mostly protects me, letting DoorDash know I did my part. Whatever happens after this point, not on me, I dropped it off at that door. So, I guess she sees me out the peephole holding her order, rolling my eyes, waiting less than patiently. So I'm, waiting for the timer, and then all of a sudden she opens the door and she goes to take it, and I was like, oh yeah, I had to wait 5 minutes. I said, you wanted me to leave it at the door, but I have to wait 5 minutes. And she's like, ugh, and it just takes it and goes, and I was like, okay. It has this attitude for no reason, like, ma'am, you wanted me to hand it to you, and then you backed out of that, you got, I don't know, scared, alarmed, fine, but what's with the attitude? All's well that ends well, it's fine. But hello, what is with this day is starting off, I hope this isn't indicative of what to expect from customers for the rest of the day. I have some issues with these. I hate when they say hand it to me. A lot of times it's fine. They come right to the door and they take it. It goes off without a hitch, that's no problem. A lot of times I don't know what transpires between the placing the order and me getting to the door, but sometimes people like to forget, I guess, that they said hand it to me. Now one time, this is obnoxious. So one time I get to a woman's house who wanted me to hand it to her, and then she refused to answer the door. By that day, I was not having it that day. So I call her like I'm supposed to do. She doesn't answer. I leave a voicemail. I call again because I'm not going to sit there for 5 minutes. I got money to make. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for these games. So, because this is a choice you made. You wanted me to hand it to you. I'm happy to hand it to you. So get out here and take this food. So I'm knocking, I'm calling, and at some point I have to wait this 5 minutes because I can't reach the customer, and she will not answer her phone. Apparently she's so afraid. I don't get it. You're so afraid, yet you have somebody deliver to your house and ask, I could just leave it at the door. You could have selected just leave it at the door, and all of this would be avoided. But no, she went the long route. So I'm waiting, and I'm calling, and then finally I start knocking obnoxiously because I'm like, no, if I'm gonna be annoyed, you're gonna be annoyed too. So then finally, as the timer is approaching 5 minutes, when I could have just, I could have just left the order at the door. I could have just taken a picture and left and been about my merry way. She answers the door and she's like, you could have just left it. At this point, it took every fiber of my being not to pop off. But I didn't because sometimes it's good to take the high road. So I said, no ma'am. I could not just leave it at the door. I have to hand it to you. You selected hand it to you. And she's like, oh, I must not have filled it out. And I could have corrected her again and said, no, you did. This is a choice you made. But I didn't. I was free, did the transaction, and got out of there. Why does it have to get like this? What is with these people? Make a decision and own it. Commit. Or let me just leave it at the damn door. Sorry, I'm a little emotional because it's fresh off the heels of that lady being all whatever. Ugh. But since she tipped me so well, I couldn't really get an attitude, so I didn't. This is why I'm unleashing it all on you. Nice folks. Sorry. Anyway, the nostalgic song of the day is Paula Cole, circa 90s. Paula Cole, sometime in the 90s. Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? 90s kids, I know you remember it. It was a good one. Another little anecdote. So, one time, this happened to me too. So I was delivering a pizza from Pizza Hut. Dashers, you already know. I don't even need to ask you. I know you get it. From Pizza Hut. The worst people to pick up from. Anyway, they weren't the issue this time. Go figure. So I'm delivering to this woman. I don't remember if it was a hand it to me. I don't remember if it was a leave it at the door. Irrelevant, really. But I'm on my way, and this is back when I was doing in the app GPS navigation instead of Google. Anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'm on my way, and I realize that where it says your destination is on the right or whatever. So I'm looking around. It's just like the back of fences. It's not anything. I'm not at any destination. So I'm like, oh crap. And I guess the woman sees me like struggling because I think that you can see my location while I'm on my way there. So she calls and then she's like, hi, I just got a notification on my app saying that the driver's having a hard time locating my place. And I was like, oh yeah, actually, it seems like I'm behind like these fences. I'm on whatever street it was. And she was like, oh, you shouldn't be on that street. You should be on this street. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm still driving, mind you. I'm gonna have to pull over to input the information into the Google GPS so I can locate it. And she's like, oh no, it should be here. My pizza's gonna be so cold by the time you get it here. And I'm thinking, oh God, first off, the restaurant it was less than 5 minutes from our house. So no, the pizza was gonna be just fine. But I get it, she wants her pizza, fine. So she's like, are you on your way? And I was like, yeah, I just have to pull over to put it into my Google GPS so I can get there. And she's like, this happened last time with the Dasher. They couldn't get, the GPS brought them to the wrong place. And then I'm thinking, well then what is with the attitude? If you've had this happen to you before, the same issue, then you know it's not the Dasher. This is inconveniencing me too. I'm not getting anything out of this either. I'm not getting anything out of taking forever on one order. I'm trying to make money as well. So the quicker I can get this done, the quicker it benefits me and you. So trust me, when it takes forever, it's not benefiting me. I'm not getting anything out of it. And I'm just trying to give you your pizza, lady. Relax. All right, so we hang up and then I put it in GPS on Google. I'm on my way. And then she calls again and she's like, hey, where are you? And I was like, I'm on whatever street. And she's like, okay, that's close. I'm standing outside. And I said, well, okay. I guess I'll see you in a minute. And she's like, well, what are you near now? And I'm like, oh my God, this lady really wants her pizza. So then I finally managed to get up with her. And then inside, I wanted to pop off. I wanted to get an attitude so bad. I'm thinking, oh my God, lady, relax. You can tell she's a very anxious person, as am I. So I do have a little empathy with that. Like, I get it. You're anxious. You want something immediately. But I'll tell you what, if I want something immediately, you know what I do? I just go get it myself to eliminate the middleman. And if you've had this issue before, you know it's not the Dasher. You know it's just the GPS. I've since learned my lesson. I will never use in-app GPS ever again. I will only use Google. Sometimes Google screws me over too, but not as bad as DoorDash has. Oh, but upon the exchange, or me giving her pizza, instead of like getting an attitude, which I really wanted to, but then again, I would talk myself out of it because, look, I get it. I'm an anxious person too. Fine. We just kind of had this like stare down. Like both of us were waiting for the other to like say something. It was just this, here you go, take it. And we're looking at each other like, And then we just walk away. And she was like, have a nice day. And I said, you as well. And it was from that moment on, I said, no more in-app GPS. Only going with Google. It's always an adventure when you dash. I'm telling you, it is always something. You could be having an amazing day. Something will happen. And look, I'm overly emotional, so that little one thing will ruin my whole day. And that's my problem. But I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who are just fine and water off a duck's back and they just let it roll. And now usually I find it's the customer and the dasher. It's us against DoorDash, the way I see it, because DoorDash is gouging you guys in prices. They're paying us peanuts. And then I've heard horror stories from when people are trying to get like refunds with DoorDash and they call in and it's the situation, they get the runaround, and sometimes DoorDash refunds them and it's fine. As now some customers have claimed they didn't get their order when I know they did. And they got like a voucher or some sort of like free food situation to compensate for the Dasher's negligence, when really it wasn't. They scammed DoorDash. But typically, more often than not, it is the Dasher and customer against DoorDash, the way I see it. Have you guys had any bad issues with DoorDash, be it the Dasher, be it DoorDash? I'd love to hear the horror stories. And Dashers too, what horror stories have you had? I'd love to know.